Now we know an unordered list, which is UL, and we know about ordered lists, which is OL. Now it's time to style these lists the way that we like using CSS. Now this is what our usual unordered list looks like. So unordered, list option, or I guess list item, and then we close it. And that displays a regular list. Now what if we don't want to show the bullets, or we want to change a padding that lists naturally have, or even make our list options side by side? Now we can do all of that. If we wanted to, we could actually even change it from a bullet to our image of choice. So here's the list type property. And yes, it is 3 words separated by a dash, no white space. And the values are disk, circle, square, decimal, upper Roman, lower Roman, upper alpha, and none. Disk is default for unordered lists. So this little circle here with the black inside, that is a disk. Circle is a hollow disk. Looks the exact same, however it has a white inside. Squares are little squares. Decimal is default for ordered lists, and it lists everything like 1, 2, 3. Upper Roman shows uppercase Roman numerals, so we would have 2, 7, and 9. Lower Roman, which shows lowercase numerals. Again, we have 2, 7, and 9. We have upper alpha, which uses uppercase alphabetic listing, so A, B, C, and D. Or we can choose none, which means that there is no list formatting, no bullets whatsoever. You can apply the list style type property to unordered lists, ordered lists, or list items. When applied to an unordered list or an ordered list, then all the items will have that type of styling unless you specify a special list item that has a different list style type. We have an unordered list, we set the list style type as circle, and we have our first list item. So by default, circle, which is the black ring, that's our default list style type because we specified it in the unordered list element. Second one, we change the list style type to square, and it just says I'm a square with a square. None, which means nothing shows up. Disk, default for unordered lists. Upper Roman, lower Roman, and upper alpha. Now let's look at side-by-side listing. If you want to create a list that doesn't use a new line for every list option, then we need to remove the block attributes. We do so like so. So li, list element, which will target every li in your page. We change the display to inline. Naturally, display is equal to block, which looks like that, block. But we change it to inline. And it displays the above list like so. I'm a circle by default. I am a square. No list styling. This is default for unordered lists. Uppercase numerals, lowercase numerals, uppercase letters. Now you can't really tell where anything is, and that's because it's not really in the list format that you're used to seeing. Now your list is all side by side. Also note that once we put the list options display property to inline instead of being block, the list style types are removed. So once your list is inline, it's going to remove your circles or your Roman numerals or your numbers, etc. Now if you want to create a custom list image, we can do that as well. To do this, we apply a background image, which we've already covered, and we do not allow it to repeat itself. So what we did here is we took the li element as our selector, background image URL, and we're going to use star.png again. We set the repeat to no repeat, so it does not repeat over and over again. List style type is none, so it doesn't show up the natural bullets or Roman numerals or letters or numbers, etc. And we added a 15 pixel padding to the left. Now what the padding does is it adds a little 15 pixel section right around here where our image is, and just happens to be 15 pixels wide, and that will move all of our text over 15 pixels, so this looks like it is now the list. Now we're not actually creating a list style type image, we're just making it look that way. And this is one of the great things about CSS, is that we can actually manipulate all sorts of code to look really tricky like that, to look great. This looks like a list, but it actually isn't. Now just to go over that again, we first applied the background image and repetition, so we got rid of the repetition. Just to let you know that the order of all of this does not matter. I know that we went over the love-hate thing. That's only for links. That does not apply really to anything else. Then we removed the list style type by setting its value to none, so it doesn't have our circle or disc or square. And we added a left padding of 15 pixels, again, so that all of our text shows up 15 pixels to the right of our element. And because the padding is on the inside, we still have our background image, which is still on the inside. I hope this makes sense. If this part doesn't make sense, I strongly recommend playing with it until it does make sense. I'm going to tell you right now that I avoided using lists for a number of years just because I didn't think that they were really worth all the hassle when I could do everything else with other styling using divs and stuff. However, once you get up to a more professional level, instead of just using divs for everything, you're going to want to actually try and expand your vocabulary a little bit, if I can say that, and use a list for your navigation instead of, like I was doing, using divs. Lists are actually really great. There are lots of uses for them. They're just one of those elements that are kind of a little bit of a pain to learn off the bat, and styling with them is sometimes a little bit of a pain, but in the end, it's always worth it.